What does the Ethereum Phantom gaming console and 99% of crypto have in common? It promised the future, took the money, and delivered absolutely nothing. In 2004, the Phantom was hyped as the first console with no disc. Pure digital downloads. Millions raised, magazine covers, industry buzz. But behind the curtain, no finished console, no launch. Just a shell sold as the future. It was vaporware. And since the 80s, that word meant failure. A product that never shipped, a promise that never became real. But in 2017, something happened. Crypto took that failure and turned it into a business model. This was the white paper craze. Founders realized they didn't need a product. They just needed a PDF and a promise. We didn't just fall for vaporware, we industrialized it. Take EOS. They raised $4.2 billion, the largest ICO in history. They promised to kill Ethereum. They promised 1 million transactions per second. But when the mainnet finally launched, it never came close to the scale that the fundraising implied. And that wasn't the exception, that was the template. That's why 90% of the top 100 cryptos today are either vaporware or already obsolete. Actually, we can go even deeper on that number. If you look at the top 100 today, you aren't looking at innovation. You're looking at the 4 buckets of failure. The phantom ledgers: Cardano, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash. They have billions in market cap, but no pulse. They keep moving, they keep trading, but there's no soul inside the machine. It's valuation without verification. The copies: Arbitrum, Optimism, Base. They aren't new architecture, they're just patches for Ethereum. Copies of a broken system fighting for the same crumbs of liquidity. The casinos: Solana, Sui, Hyperliquid. Technologically, they are fast, but so are slot machines. Economically, they're designed for value extraction. Just look at the name: Hyperliquid. Hyperliquidation. In practice, they often end up transferring wealth from the retail player to the venture house. The distraction: Dogecoin, Shiba Inu, Pepe, and Bonk. Billions of dollars in capital trapped inside jokes with zero utility. While we were laughing at dog coins, the banks were building the real infrastructure. So, when you remove the phantoms, the copies, the casinos, and the clowns, who is actually left? Bitcoin and Ethereum? Chainlink and Render? Arweave and the internet computer? That's it? Out of 100 blue chips with a valuation over $1 billion, less than 10 are real, and the rest is noise. While retail was chasing noise, the institutions were quietly building their own rails. For decades, XRP and XLM were marketed as the future of global settlements. But while the lawsuits dragged on, JP Morgan built Kinexus. Private settlement rails moving real institutional value, over $2 billion a day. JP Morgan didn't wait for crypto to mature, they built the thing that crypto said was coming. And for years, projects like Avalanche promised to tokenize Wall Street. But look who's actually issuing the world's largest digital bonds today. HSBC with Orion and Goldman with GSDAP. None of them run on Ethereum killers, they run on infrastructure built for institutions, not speculation. Crypto talked about tokenizing the world, the banks just didn't. Here's where the usual objection appears. But Omari, if the banks built it, then it's not decentralized, so it doesn't count. That argument confuses the mission with the method. Decentralization was never the product, it was the tool. The banks didn't reject decentralization, they rejected public speculation. Crypto treats decentralization like a belief system, while the banks treated it like infrastructure. And because they treat it like infrastructure, they wrote the rules for it. The Clarity Act, isn't a green light to pump your bags. It's the blueprint for control. You want proof? The stablecoin interest band. Right now, banks earn 5% on your cash, but this law makes it illegal for crypto to pass that 5% on to you. Why? They admitted it in the Senate. If you could earn 5% on digital dollars, 6 trillion would leave the banks overnight. So they didn't ban crypto, they banned you from getting paid. By the time we realized it, the trap was already shut. So if the banks have the rails and the rules are rigged, what is our defense? We yell decentralization. We say they can't stop us. But that's the biggest lie of all. Look closely at these so-called world computers. Where do the nodes run? AWS. Where is the front end hosted? Vercel. This is the Decentralization Theater. If the government sends one letter to Amazon, 70% of the market goes dark. You don't have a revolution, you have a subscription. And as long as we rent their servers, we will never be sovereign. So here's the billion-dollar question. Why can't these massive networks host their own websites? The answer? Architectural debt. Architectural debt is what happens when you launch a system before the foundation is ready. You make early design choices that feel small in the moment, but become impossible to undo once a million users are built on top of them. Once the foundation is wrong, every upgrade becomes a patch. Every patch becomes a compromise, and every compromise pushes the project further away from the thing it originally promised to be. This is what caused the drift. Bitcoin drifted from peer-to-peer cash to digital gold. Why? Because the architecture couldn't scale to be everyday money. It wasn't a philosophical choice. It was an architectural necessity. Ethereum drifted from world computer to the settlement layer. The EVM wasn't designed for high-performance execution. The world computer became a coordination layer, not because it wanted to, because it had to. Solana promised Wall Street speed, but outages and halts showed the architecture couldn't handle the mission. And when the tech couldn't hold the narrative, the culture took over. Solana didn't just drift, it became a casino inside a casino. And that's why so many chains lean on centralized servers. The architecture was never built to stand on its own. While the industry industrialized vaporware, one team took the opposite path. A small research group led by Dominic Williams didn't chase the ICO wave or treat a PDF as a product. They spent years building the thing that everyone else only gestured at. In 2015, they asked a different question. What if we actually built the thing that everyone else was pretending to have? And then they did something almost no one in crypto did. They built the foundation first. 6 years of forging. Copper, bronze, tungsten, sodium, mercury. And when Genesis arrived, it didn't just launch a token, it launched a cloud. A sovereign, self-upgrading cryptographic cloud capable of running software end to end. From there, the evolution didn't scramble, it sequenced. First, Bitcoin integrated natively, not through a custodial bridge, but through chain key cryptography that lets smart contracts work directly with real BTC. Then, Ethereum integrated. Its assets and signature mirrored the internet computer using the same cryptographic approach, without relying on vulnerable third-party bridges. Front ends moved on chain, not screenshots, not static files. Actual living applications served directly from the canister on a decentralized cloud with no AWS in the middle. DAOs became full stack, not just multi-sigs with a Discord server, but organizations whose logic, storage, identity, and interface all lived inside the same sovereign environment. And then the boundaries started to break. AI didn't just sit beside the chain, it began to run inside of it. Models, agents, and inference pipelines executed by the same cryptographic cloud that runs the rest of the stack. No bridges, no wrappers, no L2 duct tape, just real interoperability, real compute, real intelligence. In 5 years, the internet computer went from sovereign cloud to multi-chain execution to AI-powered, full-stack decentralized applications that don't need AWS. And here's what almost everyone misses. That was only the opening arc. The first chapter in a roadmap measured in decades, not in bull cycles. Most chains are trying to survive the next cycle. Internet computer is building for the next generation. The market is still betting on the fastest horse. Solana, Sui, Aptos, but the race for speed is over. The banks have already bred the fastest horse. That race ended the moment they wired tokenization into their private rails. ICP didn't build a faster horse. It built the automobile. While everyone fights over best ledger, ICP quietly replaces the entire stack. The servers, the cloud, the middleware, and the centralized AI. It replaces the very ground the industry stands on. The banks have the rails. The vaporware has the hype. But we have the future that they promised but could never deliver. A sovereign cloud. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, stay blessed and stay sovereign.